This is the first 10 I have ever given.
This game is hidden movement, it is bag building, it is brilliant.
Area control in a way that I enjoy.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassel and welcome to Week in Review, a video series that we like to do here in the Dice Tower. We go back and we tell you what we've done over the past week, and then you can go and watch the full review if what we say now interests you. So let's get started.
Hey everybody, I'm Garcia, and here's what I reviewed last week. So I reviewed Monumental Duel, which I give an 8 out of 10 to. This is a reworking, sort of condensing of Monumental, only for 2 players, obviously, but it contains quite a bit of gameplay in this very small package. In the game, you are going to be acquiring new cards for your deck. You're also making a push with your civilization to acquire locations, to pass laws that give you unique abilities, and the whole thing manages to feel epic, but it does so in a very small, compact package. There's also 3 different boxes, each one with a module, and you can sort of mix and match the civilizations and the modules. I thought it was a very well put together little box, or 3 boxes, I guess I should say. I also reviewed Explorers of Navoria. I also gave this an 8 out of 10. Lovely production here of a game that turned out to be a little more digestible, a little more straightforward than I expected it to be. In it, you are going to be collecting cards, purchasing and sort of, acquiring these cards, moving your little explorers on different locations on the map. And the central mechanism, which I thought was very clever, was pulling from a bag a couple of actions or taking one that someone left that lets you take the cards. And then in reverse, you are going to be taking those tokens that got pulled and placing them as a worker placement mechanism on the board in order to take predetermined abilities and actions. It's simple, it's clean, it's straightforward. I think it's one that perhaps I wouldn't necessarily play with the maximum count of 4, and probably even less with 5, which is an expansion that's available to the game. But as a 3-player game, I think the return ratio here is going to be great, and I just enjoy looking at the game. It's a beautiful game. And then lastly, I reviewed the Kinfire Delve trilogy of games, and I give this a 9. I think they are amazing. They are gorgeous as well, very attractive games. But they managed to immerse me in this game's world, in this lore, in this fantastical setting, with very few moving parts, with clean, straightforward, sort of tried-and-true mechanisms. Nothing flashy here. But I think the workmanlike nature of the game is a strength instead of a detriment. I like that the mechanisms kind of get out of the way. I like that my character, and you have 6 characters here you could be, if you have all 3 boxes. The characters are built, they are suggested from just 18 cards, and I enjoy that. And then the 3 big bads, you can choose which one you want to go up against, and they themselves have a lot of personality. So I like this one. Absolutely recommend it if you want to play solo or you want to play 2 players. You can combine boxes and play more players than that. But yeah, it's a fantastic little game. And that's it for me. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike Deliso coming to you from the Dice Tower Studios again. Yes, for my week in review. I did 3 games this week, and so they were all quite good. Let's start off with Ironwood. Ironwood, I give an 8 out of 10. This is a 2-player asymmetric game coming from Mind Clash. It features some very clever card play, different goals for each side to win, but they're somewhat interconnected, so you do feel like you're playing a cohesive game no matter which side you're playing. Really solid game, 8 out of 10. Next up is Monumental Duel. I gave this an 8.5, Seal of Excellence. This is the 2-player version of Monumental, the much larger Kickstarter game with minis. Monumental Duel is strictly a card game, and it's only for 2 players, and I think it's actually very good for that, because Monumental itself, the base game, is one that I don't really like playing more than 2, and if I want a quicker version of it that still gives me the same core feeling of the game, Monumental Duel definitely fits the bill there. The big one still has the grandeur and the toy factor, but just for the card play, which is the biggest part of that game, Monumental Duel does it very well. And then finally, Kelp. 9 out of 10. Seal of Excellence. This is an amazing, another 2-player asymmetric game where one side is playing as an octopus, the other side is playing as a shark, and it's a cat and mouse game. Shark and octopus, cat, you get what I'm saying, right? The octopus is trying to hide from the shark and eat food without being noticed by the shark. The shark is trying to hunt down that octopus through the water. Really, really clever design where each side plays very differently. And one is more dice driven in a sense. The other one is more the hidden movement type of a thing. It is just such a unique product with a gorgeous production. Knocked it out of the park with this one, Kelp. All right, well, that's going to do it for me this week. This is Mike Deliso signing off from Dice Tower Studios.
Hello, folks. This Chris time I took a look at 3 games, the first of which was Pinball Haunted House. Box top pinball. Tabletop box ball pin top. This is a 7 out of 10. This is a game where you flick dice down these descending staircase of little boxes that tuck within the other boxes of this game. It's a little weak. It's a little fragile. I wish that it held up a little bit better than it already has, but very fun. Decent price point to get into a fun little dexterity game. I like the spooky theme. A 7 out of 10 for me. Next up, Reef Project. I gave a 7.5. This is one from Board and Dice. I'd like to play it some more and see, if it'll change, but it's one I do want to come back to, one that's fun. I like moving around this board and how it really ramps up over the course of the game. A lot of good stuff to do. Feels like it's treading in some areas where there's a lot of familiarity already, especially within Board and Dice's catalog. One I'll still come back to, but I feel more excited to come to other of their games before this one. A 7.5, a very solid game though. And lastly, Free Ride USA, an 8.5 from me. Boy, you call one Freedom and Freeze game ugly, and everyone jumps down your throat. You say that this one is an improvement over the original, people jump down your throat. I think that this one, while a little bit garish on the color scheme, is color-coded. It's a fantastic train game, very simple actions, fast turns, pretty fast overall play, and a lot of neat player interaction. It's a great pick-up and deliver game. This is the US version of the original Free Ride, which took place in Europe, and I think that color-coding the regions and color-coding the cards makes this one so much more playable and user-friendly, so an 8.5, the rating I would have given the original Free Ride if not for what I would consider those production mistakes and short-sighted decisions. So, a fantastic train game, and that's been my week.
This week, I took a look at 2 different games. First up was Explorers of Navoria. I came in at an 8 for this game. It's going to be a seal of approval for me on this one. I was really excited about it going into Essen, but I was also kind of hesitant because I didn't really understand what the game was going to be. So once I finally got to the table, it was a lot lighter and comfortable, more comfortable than what I was expecting. Just from the description of the Kickstarter campaign, I couldn't quite wrap my head around what it was going to be, but I loved the idea of the different ways that worker placement was going to be utilized. And it really sung for me. I think the kind of 2-part nature of this game is really intriguing, where you are selecting a card on your first half of the round, and then on the second half of the round, you're using the tokens that weren't used for the card selection in order to take actions out on the board. Each of the different locations you can do something different. Maybe they give you points, or they give you resources, or they move you on different tracks. And I find that there's a really good balance without being too overwhelming with rules or time that the game takes, anything like that. So it's a very instantly kind of comfortable game, but absolutely a neat setting and world. So Explorers of Navoria, I really enjoyed, and I came in at an 8 for. But the big one for me this week was Kinfire Delve. This is the first 10 I have ever given this game, or this series. Zee and I took a look at the whole series. There's 3 individual games in it, but they can all be mixed together, and they all have the same system. It's just 2 characters and 1 bad guy come in each box. If you have all 3 boxes, then you can mix and match however you want. Oh my gosh, do I love this game. So when we first took a look at it, I believe I came in at a 9 on it when we just looked at 1, but then this time looking at the series, I've had a chance to get them all to the table. I love the personality and the depth of the character development that's given to just a very pretty simple card game. I can teach this game in less than 5 minutes. It's so rewarding in the stories that it brings, in the combos that come out on the table, and the individual personalities of not just the character that you're playing, but the baddie that you're going against. It's quick to get to the table, it's engaging, and it's deep in its gameplay, and it feels like so much more than just a card game. So Kinfire Delve, I have played a ton of over the last year, and I can't wait to keep getting it to the table. It's one of those that I could play almost every day. So Kinfire Delve was a 10, the first 10 for me, and it's fantastic. I could just gush, but we'll keep moving on anyway. So Kinfire Delve, 10. Let's keep going.
Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and here are the games that I reviewed this week. First off was Ironwood. It's a 2-player game. Battler back and forth. One person is, well, obviously iron, one person is wood, and each one is very asymmetric. It's got some great components. I like this. I gave it a 7. All right, also was Reef Project. This is a Euro game, but it's kind of where you're pretty much planting coral reefs, and it's very bright with a lot of good icons. I enjoy this as well, and I gave this a 7.5. The other one is another 2-player game. This is called Kelp, Shark vs. Octopus. This game is hidden movement. It is back building. It is brilliant. I gave this a 9. I can only see it going up from there. Really good. So anyway, those are 3 games I reviewed this week.
Hi, I'm Wendy Yee, and I have 2 games this week, and they are both winners, so that's pretty awesome. The first one is Free Ride USA. And this is a redone version, or an American US map version of Free Ride, which is a Freedom and Freeze game. But they updated the coloring and the system of it so that it can visually be much easier to play. The older version was way hard. This I gave an 8 because I found it to be a very enjoyable pick up and deliver game where you are building out routes and you are having this positive interaction where you're giving each other money to use routes, but then they become public routes and they become free, so you can have a free ride. And what else I think is really interesting is the triple cards that they have. So every route has 3 cards. You can go from A to B or B to C, but you can never do all 3. And so there's some cool choices there and a little bit of that giving up as you are gaining stuff. So I just think it's very interesting the way that pick up and deliver works. The next one for me is Reef Project. I gave this an 8.5. This is a board and dice game and very much enjoy the theme. I enjoy the look of it, but also for me, games are all about the mechanics. I think that this game has a lot of cool elements to it. So as you are moving up on the victory point track, you are actually increasing the ability and the actions behind your refresh or re-energize action that you can take, as well as you are able to move around the board in such a unique way as you're making routes cheaper for you, well, free for you and cheaper for other people. And so there's some cool positive interaction. There's area control in a way that I enjoy. And then there's tracks and lots of tracks. And so I think there's some really cool stuff going on in Reef Project. If either one of those are interesting to you, watch those reviews. Otherwise, let's see who's next.
Well, I did 7 big short reviews of big games. Some good, some bad. You'll have to check that one out. I also reviewed kind of these 3 little magnetic puzzles from Think Fun that ranged anywhere from 6 to 7.5. So you have to go, there's 3 of them I did together. For games, I reviewed Marvel United Annihilation. I gave this one a 7. Now, I love Marvel United. But the reason this one's not as high as the rest is just because you don't get a whole ton in this box. But it does have some of the most powerful characters in the game. I also reviewed Pinball Haunted House. This is a game where you are rolling dice down. This was another 7 out of 10. The reason that one's not higher is because it's a cheaper version of Tumbling Dice. And I love Tumbling Dice. Here's the thing, though. It is a cheaper version of Tumbling Dice if you need to get that. Ironwood, I reviewed this one. It's iron versus wood. And it's an asymmetrical war game of sorts that is 45 minutes long. Very impressive back and forth game. I liked it a lot. That is an 8 out of 10. And Monumental Duel. Really like this one. It replaces Monumental for me. It's a small little deck building in a card box. I like it a lot. 8.5. My favorite game this week, though, was Kelp. Kelp, just an amazing asymmetrical game. I mean, I'm giving it an 8.5, but man, it's close to a 9. It's such a good production, good everything. I also Like I said, I did the 7 short reviews. I did 47 reviews in 13 minutes. You can check that out. We did our top 10 worker placement games. And, of course, we did all our live shows, including a marathon of games that we played from Bitewing Games. So lots of cool stuff coming. Check it out. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassel, and you've been watching Week in Review on the Dice Tower.
You are playing as either the Woodwalkers or the Iron... See, Chris, I'm in different surroundings all of a sudden, and so it's a complete catastrophe. I'm going to try it again.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you, and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassel.
All right. Box Top Pinball Haunted House. Box Top Pinball Haunted House. Here we go.